Οπότε, μετά από την μακρινή σκοπιά, την οικονομική σκοπιά που μας έδωσε ο κύριος Γιαγλής, θα κάνουμε ένα πολύ γρήγορο και πολύ δυνατό zoom στο οικοσύστημα των applications και την προστιθέμενη αξία που παράγουν ή δεν παράγουν για τους developers. Ο κύριος Stijn Schuermans της Vision Mobile θα μας πει λεπτομέρειες. Stijn.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let me first of all skip all the boring slides. Let me pick up a little bit where Mr. Jaglis left. Mobile internet is a fact. Indeed, there is a problem with telecom operators. Their value proposition is disappearing slowly, and over-the-top players are taking over, right? So I was asked today here to talk a bit about application economy. When we talk about apps and the app economy, really it started around 2008, and we can tell pretty specifically where it started with the first app stores appearing from Apple and from Android. So this is my starting point for you today, because when apps first became available on mobile telephones, when mobile internet became available on mobile telephones, it changed everything. Before, a mobile telephone was just a telephone. It had 4 apps. It had a telephone, texting, an address book, maybe a camera. That was it. There were some apps, but it was very difficult to get them actually distributed on telephones, and it was just a little gimmick on top of your telephone. After app stores, your mobile telephone is now a mobile computer. So this has created an enormous explosion of applications. Now, an application is not catering just to your telephony needs. It's catering to every possible user need that you have. So you have well over 700,000 apps in iOS and Android now. They cater to any possible user need. This really changed a lot throughout the entire industry, so it's throwing the industry really upside down. And this has consequences. This is not nothing. It really changes quite a lot. There are some good things, some bad things, some ugly things. Right? So I start with the good. From the outside, this new app economy that has been created might look like this: sparkling, booming, lots of oohs and ahs. Mobile advertising is worldwide exceeding $10 billion. Similar amounts, perhaps a little bit less, in terms of paid applications, in terms of money that has been paid to developers. So this is really a multi-billion-dollar industry that has appeared since 2008, basically out of nothing. Nice, right? Well, from the inside, though, it looks more like this. Too many fish in a very small pond, all trying to fight for little scraps of food, right? If you're an app developer, your world looks like this. Apps have absolutely exploded. This is the competition for app developers, right? Millions of apps, literally. How are you supposed to sell your app when there are millions of other apps that basically do pretty much the same thing? We've done quite a lot of research on developer economics. I want to share this with you in the bad side. So 60% of developers that have taken our survey earn less than $500 per app per month. If you take into account that the average cost to produce an application is around $30,000, on average, there are much more expensive apps than that, there are much less, it would take 5 years to break even on your application. That's not a good thing, right? No application will keep making money consistently for 5 years, and 60% of developers don't even earn that much. It also gets slightly ugly because the platforms on which these applications run, iOS, Android, Windows Phone, and so on, they have a pretty strict control over applications, or over their platform rather, and they're not really tended to take very good care of developers. So one example of this is when iOS recently, a couple of months ago, changed their app stores. Now all of a sudden, instead of having 5 apps on a screen, you only had 1 app on a screen. So as a developer, now it has gotten even more difficult to get your app discovered. Also, over the years, this culture on app stores and in general on mobile platforms has emerged that apps should be either free or very cheap, 99 cents, something like that. I think this is figures from Distimo. The average price of an app on app stores is around $2, right? That's not much. I mean, compare that to desktop software. Software used to be paid much more than this. So what is an app developer to do nowadays, right? Yes, there is this big opportunity, but there is also huge competition. This means that they're not earning very much at the moment, and their life has been made difficult. What should they do? Give up? So we at Vision Mobile, we do a lot of strategic analysis in the telecom world in general, or rather in this convergence between the telecom and the internet world, and specifically in developer economics. So in the economics of apps ecosystems, and developers. We've just released a new report or new results from a survey. It's one of the largest independent global surveys that covers all the platforms. So we're pretty proud of that. The results of that are free. You can download the report from our website, and thanks to these sponsors. I have to show this. Okay. So we really believe that it is possible for developers to make a sustainable business out of this. So how can you do that then? How can a developer make a sustainable business out of an app, and how can this app economy as a whole become sustainable? We see several trends or opportunities if you're a developer to do that. And the first one, I believe in this conference we will hear quite a lot of that, is the enterprise opportunity. So where apps before were mostly for consumers or were consumer software, now we see more and more enterprise apps coming up. This presents developers with an excellent opportunity, we believe. So these are some quotes from our report. Don't worry about reading them. The highlights are there. So what makes an enterprise app different? First of all, there's a budget to buy it. Right? Consumers are not willing to spend much on apps. Enterprise is something else. Secondly, they have much more stringent requirements for their apps about data security, about authentication, management, and so on. This makes an app much more defensible. We have a quote from an enterprise app developer saying that the consumer app space was mostly driven by hypes and fancy hero apps. In the enterprise world, you have to convince business people of the return on investment. So now it's a sales process. And it's a longer sales process, but with a more scalable and profitable business model. Do we have any proof that this would actually work? Because it sounds really nice in theory if you're an app developer. Maybe enterprise is a good opportunity. It's much more difficult, therefore it's also much more defensible. There is budget. Sounds good, right? Is there any proof for this? Actually, there is. So we asked the developers in our survey how much they earn. Out of the top earners, the ones that really earn more than $100,000 per app per month. So that's really the top tier of earners. More than half, almost half, works on enterprise apps. So if you're a top earner, it's likely that you're an enterprise app developer. Also on average, and even if we take out those top earners, because they tend to skew the results, on average, an enterprise app developer is the best earner out of all the app categories. And they basically earn, on average per month, about double the average of developers. So yes, this is a good opportunity. I hope to hear a lot more later today about how this opportunity can be reached. The other trend we see is that where before app developers were quite opportunistic, like, hey, let's make an app, let's hope it becomes wildly successful in this enormously booming market of apps and smartphones. Application developers nowadays have to be more like entrepreneurs. Apps have become real serious business. If you understand how to do business in general, as an app developer, you're likely to do well. So let me give you some conclusions from our survey again that confirm this trend. First of all, we did a lot of investigation in developer tools. So where before, in the beginning of this era of apps, let's say in 2008, there was nothing, right? You could program your app, but you had to do everything yourself. It was costly, it took a lot of time, the possibilities were limited. Also the possibilities for distributing your app and promoting your app were quite limited. Those days are starting to, or over now, and at a fast pace, we're starting to see developer tools coming into the market. So we estimate that now for every 1,000 app developers, there's one app tool maker, which is quite a lot if you understand that, yeah, there are anywhere between 500,000 and 2 million app developers in the world. There are really a lot of tools. Many of these tools also now have reached a stage where you can really say that they have become mainstream. So this is not anymore something for some app developers, maybe only the biggest companies or the biggest game makers or something like this. Tools have become mainstream. This means that app developers nowadays can reduce their costs, can go to market much faster, can promote their app better. There are many more tools available to actually promote your app and get your app discovered. Therefore, hopefully can be more successful. This is revenue models. Same kind of evolution towards a more serious business. So the blue bars represent popularity of the different models. I'll walk you through it in a minute. The red bars represent revenue from app developers using this revenue model. So in the beginning, it was simple. You either had an advertising supported app or a paid app, or you didn't make any money at all. Those are still the most popular revenue models. Why? They're very simple, right? It's very easy to integrate ads into your app. You publish it on an app store. You ask a price for it. Okay. Don't make much money though. This is too easy. When you see app developers, in-app purchase, freemium app developer subscriptions, they tend to be much more successful. Why? Not everybody can make a subscription app. This is not so easy. First of all, you have to have content that is worth your recurring revenue, right? Building this content or building this app or this recurring value for users is much more difficult than just putting an app, slapping a price on it and putting it on the App Store. This creates a more sustainable business. The more sophisticated, we see that the more sophisticated developers get in terms of revenue models, the more money they make. Makes perfect sense. One more. This is how app developers decide which app to develop next or which feature to add next. The most popular ones, so again, blue bars are popularity here. The most popular ones, I develop an app that I like, that I would use, that I think is cool. Maybe I will discuss it with some friends of mine. Okay, that's fine. Doesn't make you much money though. If on the other hand you do market research, in any other business this is how business is done, or this is how discovery is done. You discuss with users, you monitor app stores, you buy market research. What we see is that revenues are significantly higher. So again, the same thing. The more sophisticated app developers get, the more money they seem to make. So all of this to me confirms this trend that app development, app economy is becoming real serious business. It's not anymore just publish an app and hope that you will be successful. This doesn't work. We've seen that. It really does become serious business. So we see, okay, well, forget about this. We see app developers, app entrepreneurs as the hero. We think that they're the ones that will build this app economy, that will make it sustainable, that will make it actually profitable, and that will build it in a true sustainable business. So for the rest of us, because not all of us are app developers here, what can we do? We suggest that we become Robin. We help app developers to become more successful. And definitely this is Vision Mobile's intention. We've recently published a portal helping app developers to create a more sustainable business. We do believe that if you're willing to learn the rules of business as an app developer, the rules of innovation and create real value, you will be successful. So what do we provide on this portal? We provide our research, first of all. We try to construct insights based on facts rather than based on anecdotes. We try to teach app developers business patterns. And finally, last but not least, we list a lot of those developer tools that we were talking about, and we help app developers find which is the best tool for their job. So with this, I thank you.